What an incredibly exciting time to be in the world of AI. Another day, another model. This one is called Falcon 40B, 40 billion parameter model, and this one immediately jumped to the #1 spot in the open source large language model leaderboards. I'm going to show you how to install it. It's not straightforward, and then we're going to test it out, and let's see how it does. Let's go. So here are the open LLM leaderboards, and you could see the Falcon 40B Instruct and the Falcon 40B models top #1 and #2 on the list. So what makes the Falcon model so special? Well, first, it was trained on 1 trillion tokens, also known as 1,000 billion tokens according to a lot of people on Twitter. And right here it says the model uses only 75% of GPT-3's training compute, 40% of chinchillas, and 80% of Palm 62B. So it didn't take a lot of compute power compared to these other models to train. What makes Falcon unique? Falcon was built using custom tooling and leverages a unique data pipeline that can extract high quality content out of web data and use it for training a custom code base, independent from the works of NVIDIA, Microsoft, or Hugging Face. So they came up with a new way to train these models. And of course, a particular focus was put on data quality at scale. That seems to be the common theme. And we've talked about it a lot. Data quality trumps the data size every time. So if you have the best quality data, you are going to have the best model. LLMs are notoriously sensitive to the quality of their training data. So significant care was taken in building a data pipeline that would both scale to tens of thousands of CPU cores for fast processing and that would extract high quality content from the web using extensive filtering and deduplication. The architecture for Falcon was optimized for performance and efficiency. We already talked about how it used significantly less resources than even the GPT-3 model. And it matches the performance of state-of-the-art LLMs from DeepMind, Google, and Anthropic. Very impressive if true. So how was it trained? Falcon is a 40 billion parameter autoregressive decoder only model trained on 1 trillion tokens. It was trained on 384 GPUs on AWS over the course of 2 months. But already there's a QLoRa implementation of this, so the training should be significantly more efficient, and you might even be able to do it in a number of days. Pre-training data was collected from public crawls of the web to build the pre-training dataset of Falcon, using dumps from Common Crawl after significant filtering, deep duplication. Pre-training dataset of nearly 5 trillion tokens was assembled. To broaden Falcon abilities, the dataset was then extended with a few curated sources such as research papers and conversations from social media. So what can it be used for? Generate creative text and solve complex problems. Now, I've heard that it is especially good at translation and coding. Used in chatbots, customer service operations, virtual assistants, language translation, content generation, and sentiment analysis. So the 40 billion parameter model is quite large. We won't be able to run it on our local computer. However, we just learned how to use RunPod in a previous video. Check it out here. And I'll leave a link in the description below to that video. So it's no problem. We're going to be able to run it. But if you do want to run it on your local computer, they also have a 7B version, which is much smaller. And of course, it's not going to perform as well as the larger version, but you can at least run it on your local machine. What also makes Falcon super unique is that it was trained on a bunch of different languages, whereas most other models are just trained on English. So if we look right here, it was also trained on German, Spanish, French, Italian, Portuguese, Polish, Dutch, Romanian, Czech, and Swedish. It was trained on 75% English and 7% European languages. It was also trained on books, conversations, code, and technical papers like ARXIV and PubMed. So the last thing we're going to talk about before we dive into it is the licensing, because a lot of people want to know, is it commercially viable? The answer is kind of. Hey, quick update. After I recorded this video, but before I finished editing it and published it, there was an update. It turns out now Falcon is now fully commercially viable. They've updated their terms and they are very permissive. It's now Apache 2 and you can find the update on their website. So for the installation, we're going to use RunPod again, and we're going to use the Bloke's template for RunPod, so we have everything ready to go. Now the Bloke was already kind enough to create a QLoRa version of the Falcon 40B Instruct model, which is amazing and means that everything will be easier. And we can run it on a single GPU from RunPod. So here we go. We're going to be using RunPod, as I mentioned, and we're going to be using the Bloke's template, which makes everything easier. Although it isn't just one click anymore, we do have to make some modifications. So first, we're going to come down here. We're going to select the RTX A6000. We're going to click deploy, continue, deploy. Okay, once we have that up and running, we're going to click connect. But rather than connecting via HTTP, we're actually going to start a web terminal because we need to change some files. So click start web terminal, then connect to web terminal. And then you're gonna see this here. You're gonna type ls to list all the files and folders. And the file that we need to edit is this one right here, run text generation webui.sh. Then to edit the file, we're gonna use vi, and then I'm gonna say vi space run text generation webui.sh. And then this opens vi. And so what we need to do is type I, and that gets us into insert mode. We're gonna come down to the third line, go all the way to the end, and we're gonna start adding a couple commands. First, we're gonna say -- auto GPTQ, which gets us ready for GPTQ. We're gonna add the command trust remote code. And that's it. We just need those two commands, and that's all, and then we're gonna save. So to save, we're gonna hit escape, then we're gonna type colon, which loads up this little command line at the very bottom, and we're gonna type WQ, which stands for write, save the file, and then quit. We're gonna hit enter, and then we're good to go. Next, we have to actually restart the server. So to do that, we're gonna type ps space AUX. That's gonna give us a list of all the servers running. We're gonna look for this one right here that says python server.py. We're gonna copy the PID 58, and all we're gonna type is kill space 58. Enter. And that'll restart the server after a few seconds. Now we're done with this hard part. Then we come back to RunPod, we click connect. We're gonna say connect via HTTP. Then we're gonna go to the model tab. We're gonna scroll down to the bottom, and right here where it says download custom model or LoRa, we're gonna take the Blokes Falcon 40B instruct. We're gonna click copy right here, and we're gonna paste it right into this field, and then click download. Once that's done, we're gonna click this little refresh button. We're gonna select the model, which will load it up, and it should just work from there. So I already got started, and the first thing I did was translation. So I said, translate, I love AI. I wanna learn as much as I can about artificial intelligence into Chinese. And it spit this out. Now I copied that, and I'm gonna come over to Google Translate. I'm gonna paste it in. It detected it's Chinese, and it says, I love artificial intelligence, and I wanna learn as much as possible about artificial intelligence. That is perfect. But there's one huge drawback with Falcon, at least for now. It is incredibly slow. To output this translation, it took about a minute. Let's take a look. Using my LLM rubric, let's test its coding ability. So I'm gonna copy that, I'm gonna switch back, write a Python script to output numbers 1 to 100, generate. And look how incredibly slow this is, painfully slow, unusably slow. Now keep in mind that this is a Q-LoRa variation, so it is really slow, although I know folks are working on making it better. I heard that the unquantized version is faster, but I don't think it's that much faster. So I asked, how could this be the #1 model on the Open LLM Leaderboards? And the answer is, they don't test for speed. They only test for quality. So in terms of quality, apparently it's the best. In terms of speed, it's probably the worst. And it still hasn't even output what I asked it. Okay, so while it's outputting the explanation, just looking at the code, that's right. I'm not gonna ask it to do anything else because it's just gonna take too long. As soon as we have a faster version, I'm gonna review that. But for now, you know you can play around with it. It is high quality, and apparently it's #1 on the Open LLM Leaderboard. So take a look, play around, let me know what you see. Another update that I have for you that occurred after I recorded this video, but before I published it is that a couple people are working on fine-tuned versions that should be much faster. So as soon as those are out, I'm gonna test them and publish another video. If you have any questions or running into any trouble, join us in the Discord. I'll drop a link in the description below. If you like this video, please consider giving a like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.